all the time. But what we're talking about that's leading up to that masterful performance is the work that they are doing with young people. So Francesca and Rachel, thank you so much for being with us. And I want to start, first of all, Francesca, with you and your history with Alvin Ailey before we talk about Ailey 2.
Absolutely. Well, I am what you call an Ailey baby. I know. So I really grew up. I think I'll give you the connective tissue. So my mother was a dancer, and she was dancing with this woman named Pearl Lang, who was actually the associate, Alvin Ailey, right, the associate artistic director of the company. So my mother was dancing with her company, and Alvin must have seen her and invited her to start teaching in the school. So I grew up around the school and was, in the studio. It was like, that was my babysitter, the dance studio. And watching these dancers, I started in the children's program, and then I went on to join the scholarship program. And we had the luxury. Alvin was really alive and kind of in his prime at the time, and would walk around in his socks and ask us how we were doing, our dancing and our grades. And it was just an amazing time. But then I'll tell you, there's a story my mother told me when she was a young girl, and she had wanted to pursue ballet. And she made ballet. She became the director of the school for 26 years, and she really made ballet kind of an integral part of the curriculum. And because she wanted to be a ballerina and saw no ballerinas of color, that kind of stayed with me. So in conjunction with the Ailey training, I also did ballet, and I ended up auditioning for the main company when I was 18 after high school. And I wore my point shoes to the preeminent modern jazz company. And there I am in my point shoes. So Alvin called me into his office and he said, "Listen, Francesca, I know you want to, you always have a place with us, but it seems like you want to pursue ballet, and we need more people of color, women of color, trailblazers in ballet." And I hugged him and, went up and joined the Dance Theater of Harlem the next week. And that was so wonderful about Alvin. He was so generous, and he really cared about us, and that he would invest that kind of time to know who I was in the school. But I will tell you, after that, I couldn't stay away from Ailey. I could not. I mean, it was such a home for me, such a safe space.
It was in your DNA at that point.
You're right. I came back every summer. I ended up choreographing and teaching. And, when I moved back from Europe after dancing with the Frankfurt Ballet, I was on faculty and choreographing all the time. So, like Alvin said, it's a beautiful thing to be back. And
well, let me ask you this. Did you ever think when you were an Ailey baby and you were spending all of that time and you were there in high school and you had that wonderful conversation with him that you would become a director of a major program like Ailey 2?
So I'll tell you an interesting story. We were in a workshop with Alvin when I was a student in the school. And Alvin taught us a piece named Caverna Magica. Yeah, so we got...
Remember that? And I should tell you that we are coming to you live from the Detroit School of the Arts, which is one of my favorite places in the city. So every now and again, you'll hear a bell announcing excellence is moving around.
There we go. I love that.
Okay, so
yes, we were in a workshop with Alvin learning his piece Caverna Magica, and he sat us around in a circle, and he asked us what our dreams and aspirations were. That's why I do that with Ailey 2 now. But anyway, and I said I could see myself, I actually said kind of running a school at the time. So here we are.
There you
Isn't that funny?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, what you're doing now, which is so great, and there's so much. So Ailey 2 is this second company of emerging young dancers. They do this touring schedule, but in addition to that, they do this extensive community outreach. So here in Detroit, you are literally in 13 schools doing mentoring, master classes, workshops, and Rachel, I mean, I can't even imagine what that means for a young dancer, but talk a little bit about that.
It's really exciting. I mean, I feel like once you get to a place in your life, like I'm 24 years old now, sometimes I get so caught up in the moment of where I am in life that I forget about all the training that I went through and everything I worked for to get to where I am now. So to go back out into the communities to reach out to young children and be with them is not only a reminder for me of where I came from, but a reminder of like the potential the future has, and just to be able to give back. It's a blessing,
pretty
honestly.
cool.
Yeah. No, it's
Now, I'm
awesome.
going to ask Francesca the same question, but I always ask people this because, as I tell people all the time, Detroit is, it's not Disney, it's not New York.
Yeah.
We are the best place in the world.
Oh.
So tell me what the talent has been like with the young dancers that you're meeting here in Detroit.
So much passion. So much passion and so much spirit. Like there was one class that we were teaching yesterday, and when we were teaching the combinations and going through like a sequence, every single time, without us asking, they went full out. Not just with the movement, but like their spirits were so loud. Everyone was so excited and happy to be there, and it was just like, I was blown away. Yeah.
And Francesca, same with you. You're here in Detroit. You guys are doing all this amazing work. Before the performance comes on March 17th, you've got all these dancers who are already excited about being connected. What have you found?
Oh, I found myself jamming in the corner yesterday. I mean, I went into the rooms. I'm so proud of the dancers. You know, this is their moment to really also step into leadership and to teach these kids. And I walked into every room, and the spirit was so high, and there was such warmth. I was literally, and they had such a great playlist. These young people. I mean,
we
I
are
learned
the
more
music
about
capital,
music.
too,
I know. I was
yes.
about to say. I think they were inspired. Actually, one of the dancers, didn't Patrick bring Detroit music into? I heard one of our dancers actually brought Detroit music and like curated a playlist.
Oh, that's amazing.
For the students. So that's really exciting. But I was just, you know, I could really feel the spirit circulating and the positivity and the passion in the room. Mm-hmm.
I want to step back a minute and talk about the formation of Ailey too, because the Alvin Ailey American Dance Company is an American institution. It's a global institution.
That's right.
I mean, I have been attending performances since Revelations was, oh, I shouldn't say that out loud,
Right.
was new. But then, yeah, it's like for a while. So you go from all of this excellence that you're sharing with the world to creating this legacy of continuing excellence, sustainability. Talk a little bit about how Ailey 2 came about.
We will be celebrating our 50th anniversary next year.
Oh my God.
So we were established in 1974. And the original, I guess, it was Alvin Ailey appointed Sylvia Waters as the original artistic director. And she saw over the company for 38 years.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
So, and I it's funny because my mother directed the school. She and my mother worked very closely. So she was like a second mother to me growing up, as we all were, as Alvin was. It was very close family. But she really established, this standard of excellence and empowerment in the second company, and also soulfulness. I really feel that was Sylvia. Sylvia also, I think Alvin's original idea is that Ailey 2 would be an experimental company. And Miss Waters talked about, it kind of shifted when she would go around and see audiences, but it always had this I guess, temperature, and you would always go see the new voices. So I got started there as a choreographer. She gave me one of my first opportunities. Robert Battle, who's the artistic director of the main company, also started there, and she gave us one of our first opportunities. So, this is really just also creating that safe space for not only the dancers that are training, but also for the young creators of color that are out there.
See, I consider that generational wealth. It's
That's
like,
right.
Okay, here we go. Robert,
right.
you, and then you're continuing, and they're going to be future Roberts and future
Oh,
Francescas
yes.
and
I'm
future
already looking.
Rachels.
Oh, she's a great choreographer.
Now, I do, for our wonderful constituents here in Detroit, want to tell them about the things that you're doing. You're having these morning dance workshops at elementary, middle, and high schools. You're having afternoon dance workshops here at DSA. You have a performance. Roughly 400 students from all over the district will be able to come and see Ailey 2 in performance. And then you have these full day workshops with DSA. I mean, oh my God, there's just like so much. How do you make all of that work? I mean, how many people did you bring with you? How does that work?
Do you want to speak to that? Let's see. I'll start, and then you can. She can go in. That's right. I was just thinking. We have 12 company members. We have 4 apprentices, and I think because of the pandemic, we've been also traveling with them and touring with them, and they've been just amazing. We have our rehearsal director, Leggy Evans Pena, our company manager, Sumaya Jackson, our production stage manager, Joshua Gustafson, thank you. And then we have also our lighting supervisor and an assistant stage manager. And so we travel with a really
It's
great,
the whole 9
robust
yards.
group. Yeah, yeah. And our wardrobe supervisor, Emily White. So so we really have a wonderful team, and it's our second season, so we're getting used and getting into a rhythm, and developing kind of systems of management together.
And how do people join, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit, Rachel, but how do people join Ailey 2? Is it, talk to me about that process, that route.
That process it's one of my favorite processes. Yeah, it is. We have an audition, and we're actually just kind of formulating that, and we're going to be having an audition that will invite some of the students to. And then also too, because it is my second year, for me, having relationships with the dancers, because they're not only my dancers, they're also artistic collaborators. There's an opportunity there. So I'm looking for not only talent, but I'm looking for creative minds, and I'm looking for, dancers that are going to be invested intellectually in the work. It's a very important part of my process. So I think investing more time, I go around in the school, I observe classes, I already start kind of looking during the year to see, okay, who is this? And then going back to see, how do they process? How are they developing? How are they, how are they engaging with the work? So between those two, between the audition and kind of me lurking in the shadows, that's how we start.
Well, that's a great process. And Rachel, I want you to talk about it, but I want you to talk about it from your beginning. So tell us a little bit of your story.
My
and
beginning?
Yes, your beginning.
Beginning.
The young dancer.
From birth?
Yeah, well, you can tell me where you were born, but let's skip all of the labor and go right to when you started to dance.
So I was born in New Jersey, and then, I lived my childhood. I did my things. I was a very active child. So my parents put me in a lot of different physical activities. I did a lot of sports, but I was very picky. I didn't really like much of what I was doing until at age 11, I found ballet. And ballet kicked my butt. And I think because it was so challenging and something so different, I've always liked moving my body, but having to be able to control my body in a way that was still, I have to present myself like as elegant. Ballet's hard.
And graceful.
Yes.
Yeah, I just interject because Rachel is doing one piece of Alvin Ailey's called The Lark Ascending, and really utilizes that ballet technique, and she's just beautiful in the
It
work.
might have kicked your butt, but it stayed with you.
There you go. It was worth
No,
it.
no, it was all worth it.
So then how did you come to Ailey?
Okay, so I stuck with ballet from 11, and I thought maybe that I wanted to pursue ballet as a professional career, but my body disagreed with me, which is totally okay, because sometimes our bodies are made for other things, and just like a silver lining, I found contemporary modern dance, and I never felt that sort of passion and the way it just made my body feel compared to ballet, and it had aspects of ballet to it. So then I went to performing arts high school part-time, and the director there helped me find colleges because I wanted to pursue dance as a professional career. And I actually did not know much about the Ailey company until I came to college. Yeah. I found the program to be quite rigorous. There was a high level of technical excellence and training that I wanted to dive deeper into. And I thought it was great that I wouldn't just get my dance training, but also my academic works at Fordham University. So I was able to minor in business administration, which was really great.
All right. The business dancer. I like it.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep. Gotta think of my future. So, and then, I ended up at the university and college. And while being there, I fell in love with the Ailey company for sure, but I wasn't sure if I could see myself there necessarily. So I kind of, I would admire from afar and look at other options. Like Ailey 2 was never even really on my radar as well. I didn't think that was really a possibility for me. But then,
Until I saw her.
There you go.
Until I saw her dance.
yeah, no, but yeah, it's like all of a sudden, this new door opened for me during the pandemic. Yeah, because my class I had graduated technically during the pandemic, so I didn't really get a graduation.
Aww.
Yeah, but I was like, well, this is normally the time that people go audition for companies, start their careers. But I was just this sad little puddle of, well, there's nothing happening, and I don't know if I'm going to dance ever
And
again.
then in swoops.
Well, you should have seen her in the Zoom audition in her living room.
In your
And-
living
oh, yeah.
It was
living
a
room?
virtual audition.
It was a virtual audition, and the rehearsal director, Lakey, and I were like, oh my gosh, she blew us away on
On
Zoom.
Wow.
I was just having fun.
That's amazing.
I'm
Now,
so happy to
I'm
do
glad you mentioned discovery because, Francesca, I want to talk to you about that sense of discovery when you find someone like Rachel or someone you might have met here in Detroit. How does that work and how does that feel? Because, again, this has been your whole life, so you know what those different aspects are. Talk to me about those moments of discovery.
Do you have tissues
No.
handy? No, I'm joking. I'm fine.
I can give you the corner
No,
of my
it's fine.
dress.
It's fine. Well, I mean, you just grow to really love these dancers. I mean, we work every day from 10 to 6, and we become so close as collaborators. And it's such a gratifying experience to witness their development and witness them becoming more confident within
Yes.
themselves. I mean, and empowered. That is remarkable. I just speak to Rachel. I remember her first year, and we ended the first year. We had this company meeting at the end, and we had some very kind of transparent talk with her. She came back in the fall, and was just this example of excellence, and that's what I really enjoy about a dancer like Rachel. She's so invested intellectually and emotionally, and so also willing to take notes and make adjustments and collaborate. I mean, to see the difference, her also as a second year, because they only stay for 2 years. I know. That's what I mean about the tissues. I know. So when you're talking, we're sitting here, but really, she has stepped up in this second year as not only an amazing artist, but as a global citizen and a beautiful human and a mentor to our younger dancers, and really an example of excellence. I mean, she's just on the stage carrying very kind of hefty roles that require a lot of forethought and soulfulness and layers, many emotional layers.
That's what Ailey does for you. Look at that. Well, as we're talking about discovery, I want to make sure that we have a chance to talk to a student here, possible discovery, who has been working in the workshop. I'm going to have her come up, and I just want to get a sense from someone who is watching you come into town, and here's this amazing troupe of not just dancers, but of inspirers and mentors and people who could change your life. So come on up. We're going to be joined by, I want you to have a seat, and your mic is right there, and if that doesn't work, I'm going to give you mine. And just tell us your name.
Do I look at you?
Oh, you can look wherever you like. Yes. But
My
you can
name
talk
is
to-
Nina Contreras.
Nina Contreras.
Contreras.
I like that very much. I want you to hold the mic up nice and tight and join us for this conversation with Francesca and Rachel. And I just want us to tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Nina Contreras. I am 17. I am currently a senior here at Detroit School of Arts. I am a dance major. I have been dancing for 7 years. I started when I was 11. What inspired me to dance is the feeling that you see when you see dancers on stage. I remember I watched this production with Ballet Hispanico because they came here to Detroit Opera House. And then when I saw them on stage, I was just very captivated. And I just loved the feeling that they gave off when they danced. So I was like, I want to do that. So then I started with a couple of dance classes. Well, my mom forced me at first, because at first I was like, ah. And then my mom forced me, and then I ended up just thriving with it, and I ended up loving the feeling of dancing and performing. So I just kept going with it, and yeah.
That's amazing. Now, what has it been like having Ailey 2 in town?
Well, yesterday they came into our workshop class. I think it was like a good 2 hours and a half.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and Francesca was also there. I really enjoyed the experience. We did an across the floor combination. We did warm up, and I really enjoyed the piece that they choreographed on us. And I'm pretty sure that the choreography was student choreography or company work choreography.
Oh, no, they're
Yes.
choreographing.
Yes, and I really enjoyed the style.
But what's interesting about it, it's a kind of a composite of what they will be performing. So you're actually learning repertoire and steps from the work that you will see them perform, which is exciting.
Oh, that's amazing. That is so great. Do you get some sense from this time that you've spent with these professional dancers what that means for you, like down the road? Like, what do you think you want to do now in 15 years? Well, not 15 years, 5 years. Or did you already have a goal? Do you have a goal and this has helped cement it? Or did something change from hanging out with them this week?
I have a goal, but I definitely don't make that my only mindset as a dancer. I feel like as a dancer, you have so many opportunities, and if you're just closed-minded, you're not going to make it as far as, being somebody who has more technical styles, or somebody that just knows how to do everything and how to attack everything. I feel like definitely being more diverse in dance styles is very important. So just having one goal is fine, but also keeping your mindset open to other opportunities and goals to let come in.
Now,
as
so
a
you
dancer.
talked about the intellect and the astuteness and the stuff that comes with it's more than dance. So you're magnificent. I appreciate that. We have one more student that we're going to bring up who I believe we do, who's going to come up and talk, unless she's going to flee. You're going to trade with Rachel. You're going to trade with, okay, say your name one more time.
Nina Contreras.
Nina Contreras, which is beautiful. Nina. So we can talk with one more. Thank you, Nina. So you're going to
Bye,
swap with
Nina.
her so we can make sure that we talk to both of you. Thank you so much. And now we're joined by, we're joined by
Lauren Simmons.
Lauren Simmons.
Hi,
Lauren,
Lauren.
look at this joy, like just bubbling right out. I can feel this. Okay.
She was fantastic
Yes.
yesterday.
Look at that. Look at that. Francesca Harper said you were fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm a pre-professional dancer straight out of Detroit, Michigan. I'm currently a high school senior here at Detroit School of Arts. I serve as a dance major and a theater major.
Okay.
Yeah. Really quickly, I'm sorry, this is so incoherent. You mentioned something about being a cognizant dancer, how you guys were talking about kind of being multifaceted. I'm trying to remember the point. Oh my gosh, where was it?
Talking
happens
about
to me a couple of
intellectual
times.
engagement. And
It's where you guys were talking about different formats. I
Like
completely
finding different ways to get into dance? Like,
Yes.
okay. So what about it? That's what you want to do? Make sure that you are multifaceted. Here's the thing. Do you know now what you want to do when you graduate? I know that's tough.
Man, it really
But look,
is.
if you're studying dance and theater, I'm going to kind of guess, but I don't want to be wrong. But are those things that you're doing to prepare for a career in either dance or theater?
Yes.
So talk a little bit
as
about
I've
that.
talked to with my instructors, even just this morning, I'm preparing for an audition with Howard University.
There you go.
And throughout the process, it's been really, really difficult because it's you really have to take a step back, look at your technique, and really analyze that you do all this training throughout the week, and it really all kind of boils down to, okay, in this one moment, can you perform it and perform it well? And I completely forgot the point because, oh my gosh, I wish I would remember.
I'm going to call you in a couple of hours and ask you. It'll come back. You watch. You'll remember it. When you have a chance to work with, now mind you, when you're talking choreography on the spot, that means they're moving to what you're doing. And are they offering choreography? Do they suggest things, or are they just learning?
I think sometimes that can depend on the group or even the day, who's
Yeah.
in the front of the room. Sometimes some people pull for more collaboration from the dancers, but then sometimes we just give, and the dancers take what we give them and then mold it to who they are.
Oh, that's
themselves.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. So what has this week meant for you to have these folks who are just superstars to come and be in your school?
Like kind of yesterday, we had one of the Ailey 2 correspondents who was kind of going over with us, even in like if we're doing like a simple like tendu exercise or a plie exercise, he was like, you can move with it. Like you can like have a moment to like kind of feel throughout the movements. And that was something brand new to me. Like I'd never had an instructor go and say, oh yeah, you can kind of like you can breathe within this.
Breathe with
My work here is
this.
done.
I was just going to say. And ladies and gentlemen, Francesca
wonderful to
Harper. Isn't that amazing?
No, and it's funny that you mentioned that because that is really something that I really press in Ailey too, is like to bring your signature. Like, yes, we have a foundation, but you are all advanced enough now to know that, you know, you can really bring your own style to the
And I feel like
movement.
that's a very scary point to a lot of dancers, is that now that we're at this advanced level, it's like, okay, how high can you get your batma? How straight can your back be? You know, staying aligned. And I feel like at times we're reminded of having black bodies, of that there's a cognizance that we always have to have of that, yes, you're not always going to look like the typical white prima ballerina. And even for Asian Americans, you know, Filipinos, everybody, Mexicans, we all have to cognizantly remember that all of our body types are different, our mindsets are different, and the way that we're learning and that we're portraying this on stage, I feel like it really is important when it comes down to representation of not only having a creative representation, but also having that diversity representation
Wow.
also.
Well, you're going to be brilliant no matter what you do. Let me just say that. I love the way you have just defined this moment where we are now. I love the moments that Ailey 2 has brought to you. I am so thrilled that we had a chance to have this chat because you guys are in town. Look at what you're doing. Breathe in that moment. Let me just say this to all of you young people who are watching, whether you are a dancer or, as I was, a newspaper columnist or an attorney or a banker, or a baker, find your moment and breathe in that moment and have passion about what you do. You are teaching so much more than dance, and the dance is amazing in itself, but I want to thank Lauren for joining us. I want to thank Nina, who was here a second ago. I want to thank Rachel Wu, who was literally like Ailey grad. It's like, oh my God. And Francesca Harper, the director of Ailey 2. Thank you for coming to Detroit. Thank you for what you're doing for our kids. Thank you for what you're doing for the legacy of Ailey. It has been my honor.
Oh, it's our honor as well. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
thank
work
you.
that you do. Yes, it's wonderful to be here.
Awesome. And March 17th, you better be there because I'm going to be looking for you. Opening night, Revelations. I want to make sure I say it right.
Are
'cause
You
I
in
keep
Your
going, Are you? Because I was going to say I'm in my feelings, but that's not the name of it. I'm in my feelings, but the title is Are You in Your Feelings? It's at the Detroit Opera, at the Opera House. Be there or be square. Thank you, and we'll see you later.